Hey, how you doing? I'm Rick,
And I'm Sarah.
and we are above the dash.
I forgot.
It's all good. So, I ran across an article this morning in Forbes, I guess it was. I got it on Flipboard, which I highly recommend to everybody as an app. But Forbes magazine, basically 12 things that you should do before you invest in your first property. And thought some of them were pretty good. Don't agree with all of it necessarily, but it makes for a very good discussion.
All right, looking for your first property deal? We're going to discuss 12 things that will help you make it worth it. Number 1, look for a low cost, high ROI opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to invest, obviously you need to get in as inexpensively as you can. And you're really only concerned about return on investment, ROI. That's period. If you're investing to make a profit. It's not a bad thing, as much as people like to say that. But you're investing in property to make a profit on that property. So you need a good return on your investment. So the better return you're going to get on your investment has to do with how much you pay. For instance, if you pay $1,000 and you rent it for $1,300, you're going to get a much higher return on investment if you pay $200,000 and rent it for $1,300. So what matters when investing in real estate and rental properties especially, and we're not talking about flips here necessarily, we're talking about rentals. What matters the most is first, how much you paid for it, and then second, what will your return on your investment be?
How important is finding a home that already has a tenant in it?
Finding a home that has a tenant in it is always a bonus, but you will typically pay a premium for that. And hence, there is actually less risk at that point. So less risk, you're going to have a lower return. So it's great to find one that has a tenant in it, but it can be more difficult. So how important is it? Well, that depends on whether you hire a property manager or not, or if you're going to manage it yourself. There's so many factors in there. So having a tenant in it, definitely a bonus, but expect a lower rate of return for that bonus. It's just like buying an apartment complex versus a single family rental. If you buy an apartment complex, then you're going to have a much lower return because you're going to have very few vacancy rates, as opposed to if you buy one single family home. If that's vacant, you have a 100% vacancy rate. So just like anything, you have to weigh the factors, where it fits into your investment portfolio, what kind of return you're expecting, and make sure that you decide appropriately.
Okay, number 2, narrow down your search.
Yeah, you can't. I think in the article it says that people want to basically start looking. They're like, oh, anywhere in Orlando. Right, well, that's not going to work. You need to specialize in an area. We try to specialize in DeBerry, Deltona, Orange City areas, and then DeLand as well, but all of West Volusia. We'll expand a little bit out of that, but when we're managing property or running our investment groups, we will focus on those areas because we know those areas. Sarah grew up around here. I've lived in DeBerry for 14 years. We know just about every street in the neighborhood. I was taking a kid home last night. With my son, and told me where he lived, and I'm like, oh, I know where that is. And he's like, how do you know that? I said, well, because I know about every road in DeBerry. Sarah knows about every road in both cities. So you want to know your area. That way you know when you're getting that good deal or when you want to stay away from that particular neighborhood.
All right, number 3, conduct thorough comparison research.
Yeah, you need to hire an agent, and you need to have thorough research on if you're paying the right amount or not. I mean, there's a big difference between paying $20,000 more and $20,000 less as far as what your return on your investment is. It goes back to number 1. So you need to make sure that you're getting a good deal on the property. That may mean you'll have to buy something that needs a little work, but a little work will often pay off.
Number 4, educate yourself beyond what the pros tell you.
You know, the pros here, everyone has an opinion on real estate. So when they say pros, they're not necessarily talking about agents. They're talking about all the stuff you see on TV, all the stuff you read on the internet, and all that's good, but ultimately the only thing that matters is how things affect you and your personal situation. And so you need to educate yourself and educate yourself again, and then educate yourself again, and then reality is, once you get into it, you're going to get a couple life lessons out of that as well.
Number 5, know your strengths, weaknesses, and skills.
Yeah, this is crucial. Some people are really good in handymen, so they're not going to have to pay a lot of money to have someone come in and fix properties, fix problems, fix them up, and get them ready to rent, paying them every time they have to rent. Other people, those people may not be very good with numbers and money, so they don't get the greatest return on their investment necessarily. So other people might be really good at numbers, but are not good with their hands. So they need to have people in place to do the work for them. So know what your strengths are, exploit those strengths, and know what your weaknesses are too, so you know where to hire a professional and get help.
As a new investor, would you encourage less risky?
Less risky in what way? Like less risky as meaning more repairs, less risky as meaning
all of it. Would you go out on bigger risks as being a new investor, or would you encourage a less risky to start off?
I think the obvious answer is less risky, but I'm going to debate that a little bit because it depends on where this fits into that individual investor's portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've got $1 million in stock, then they might be able to be a little more risky on an investment, because the higher the risk, the higher the return. So that's gonna be an individual decision, but in general, on your first one, you want to make a pretty safe investment. But what's safe? Who knows? That's where you need us, quite frankly.
I think you should start with less risky. Number 6, get involved in your community.
Yeah, I tell all of our agents, everyone I meet, any type of person in any type of business that involves the public, 95% of life is showing up. And those deals are not going to come to you if you sit at home all day and just stay on the internet. They're just not going to come to you. Of course, you can do a lot of good searches on the internet. You can find a lot of good things on the internet. But the good deals, the ones that never make it to the internet, those are the ones you find out there just being in the community, being involved in the community, talking with people, networking with your community, and that's where the good deals come. But you got to let everyone know that, hey, I'm looking for investment property, and don't be shy about it. I mean, a lot of times you'll run into a guy that's got to get rid of his investment property, moving away, something like that. So get out into the community, be involved, be active at all times. That goes with any part of life.
Kind of leads you into number 7. Find an off-market deal.
Yeah, off-market deals are tough to find, but when you find them, they're awesome. We tend to stumble into off-market deals, meaning that we stumble into them, and it's just all of a sudden someone's selling their property, or they need to unload their property, they need to get rid of their property, it's in foreclosure. There's just 80 gazillion different ways that we stumble into off-market deals, and when we do, you have to move quickly on those. So in our investment groups, that's what we tend to focus on, is the off-market deals. But the only way you're going to find those off-market deals, it goes back to the other one, which is you got to be out there networking and working with people who come across these deals.
Number 8, study the sales data for your intended location.
Yeah, you have to know how many units sell, how often they sell. You have to know not only the sales data, you need to know the rental data for your location. You got to know the vacancy rates. You need to know what you can anticipate to get in rent if you're going to make a profit. So you need to really know what your market is, and that goes back to the other one we were talking about. I think it was number 2 or 3, where pick an area and be an expert in that area, that particular neighborhood, that city, whatever it is. That price range could be your area. So.
Number 9, be prepared to add unique value.
So that's what life is all about. We add value to something, and then we charge more for it. Take a piece of wood, you cut it into a birdhouse, and all of a sudden you've added value to that wood. That's what we need to see what we can do for that property if we're buying it. So maybe this particular property, a good example, we have one that had like a 1970s kitchen. and we decided that we were going to knock out a wall, upgrade it. All of a sudden, we added, with a $8,000 investment, we added $25,000, $30,000 in value to the property. So you've got to find ways to create a value proposition, or how can I add value to this situation?
Number 10, get your finances in order before making an offer.
I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have the cash to buy, then you're not going to buy. And quite often, a good way to do it is have a banker on ready to go to finance. They're generally only going to finance 75% of your purchase. So you've got to, if you can do it at all, if you can pay cash for the property, you're going to get your best deal, and then finance it out at 75%. Or we had another investor who happens to have incredible credit, cash in the bank. They went ahead and made an offer cash, but it wasn't contingent on them financing, but they went ahead and went to the bank and financed the deal at the purchase. So you got to know what you're doing, what you can afford, where you're going to be, what your price range is, before you even walk out the door and start looking at properties.
Number 11, set realistic expectations.
Yeah, you watch too many of these shows on TV, you think you're just going to go get rich. I'm going to go get rich in real estate. We'll go get rich in real estate. Well, you don't get rich in real estate overnight. You can get rich in real estate, but not overnight. Get rich slow is how you do it in real estate. You're only as good as your last flip, and you're only as good as your last tenant. So don't expect to go into it making a ton of money. Have a target return on investment, ROI. Target that return on investment, and then find properties that fit into that return on your investment.
Last one, hire a great agent to help.
How many people do you see say that? I mean, we're agents, so of course we're going to say that. But I see this across the board. I see it from Forbes. I see it from Inc. Magazine. I see it from Dave Ramsey. I see it from the flippers online. Every single one of them says, hire a professional agent to work with to get you the property and to sell the property. Why? Wouldn't it make more sense not to pay them? Well, if you think about it, at level 1, it does. I could sell this property and save 6% or whatever, and then, okay, well then you go and you sell the property. Well, the person coming in to buy it, what do they say? Oh, you're not using an agent, I want a deal. So now they beat you down on that price. Then you don't get full retail for the price. Then you have the headache of all the problems and what can come up in today's world is off the charts. But it seems to be a problem with every single transaction, with financing and everything. So in the end, Dave Ramsey, what's that other guy? Clark Howard. They absolutely say, without a doubt, hire the best agent that you can find, that you can work with. That doesn't mean necessarily the one who sells the most, because they may not have time for you. That means the one that you're the most comfortable working with, that you feel has your best interest at heart. You gotta use an agent. We not only will represent you in the transaction, we will also provide a foundation for you to build the company. So if you want to invest and if you want to reduce your risk, you can partner up with other people, create a company to do your investments, and then everybody's money's at risk, but you share the risk with other partners, and we can put partners together to do that for investment property as well. If you want to do that, or if you just want to do it on your own, we can help you, we can show you, we can guide you, and we're either included or we're just simply the agents. But there's 1,000 different things that you can do, 1,000 different ways to do it. Everybody's situation is unique. You have to do it, build it for your own situation. If you're interested in investing in real estate and investing in real estate, work with a pro. Give us a call, 386-866-1007. We are happy to help you. Have a great weekend.
And walk. Bye.